Okay, in this module, we'll take a look at how to do printing in Excel. And granted, even though it's printing, sometimes printing in Excel is not as straightforward as it is in, say, Microsoft Word. We might have to jump through a couple hoops to get things to be the way we want. The key to understanding printing in Excel is to recognize it's a bunch of moving parts. It's just a bunch of combinations that you go through to try to make everything fit the way you want it to. So let's say we have this list of data here, and what we want to do is print it. If we go over and click File Print, we'll get an idea of what it's going to look like before we print it. We can scroll up and down. Now, obviously, we have some problems of which we'll fix. For right now, we'll pretend everything is cooperating just to walk through some general options. Starting over here, we can click the Print button to print everything out. Where it says Settings, we could either print the active sheet or the entire workbook if we choose. We can change the orientation from portrait to landscape if we wish. We can change the letter size as well. We can also modify our margins if we want to. And that will get us through an overview of the general settings. Now, let's tackle the problem of fixing our spreadsheet so it looks good. We'll start by clicking the back button up here. Now, granted, there are a whole bunch of ways to fix printing issues in Excel. The one I would personally advocate for is to use something called the Page Break Preview. And you can get to that by clicking on the View tab, then clicking where it says Page Break Preview. All that's happening here is Excel is giving you a high level or an aerial perspective of how your spreadsheet looks. The key is to pay attention to where these blue lines are because they allow you to adjust where the page break occurs. And you can make that adjustment by hovering over the blue line, then do a click and drag. And the goal is to move these blue lines around until everything fits the way you want. Granted, it's not the best, but it's an option for you to try. Since we're here, another option you can try is to force a page break. The way you do that is you click on Page Layout, then Page Break, and you can see the new page break right here. The other option you might want to try is this scaling option right here. The scaling option will enlarge or reduce the size of your printout. Best understood by way of demonstration. If I shrink the scale down real small and then do a print preview, you'll see what happens. So the idea here is you can toy around with the numbers either by increasing them or decreasing them just to see how it fits on your page. Moving on, even though we alluded to this earlier, if we want to change our margins, we can click on this icon right here, then go down to where it says Custom Margin, and we can type in some numbers to try to buy ourselves some more real estate on the page if we wish. To get out of Page Break Preview, click View, then Normal, and then somewhere through all that, hopefully you'll get the best combination that works for you. You can then print your spreadsheet and everything's all good. Moving on, let's talk about rows to repeat at top. So what this feature does is when we print out our spreadsheet, it will put our labels at the top of every page. So therefore, when people read it, it makes it a lot easier. To do this, we'll go up and click where it says Page Layout, then click the arrow icon. We'll then jump over to the Sheet tab. We'll click down where it says Rows to repeat at top. Then we'll go over here, click on Row 1 because that has our column headers on it. Click OK. Now, when we do a print preview, as we scroll down, you'll notice that our column headings are at the top of every page. From here, we could click Print, or we could create a PDF file, and there's a couple ways we can do that. Option 1 would be to print it as a PDF, or we could go over here to where it says Export, Create PDF. Feel free to use whatever option you want. And let's start to conclude this module by talking about something called the print area. Oftentimes, you don't want to print the entire sheet, just a portion of it. So what happens is you set the print area, and when you go to print, that's all you get. Let's see an example. Let's say this area right here, for whatever reason, is what we want to see every time we print. After we select our cells, we'll go up here and click on the Page Layout tab, then choose Print Area, Set Print Area. Now, if we do a print preview, you'll see what we get, and every time we print, that's all that we get. If we want to remove the print area, go back to the Page Layout tab, choose Print Area, clear Print Area, and you're right back to normal. And that'll wrap up this module on basic printing.